we're matching.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Ktown Social Club.
Ktown Social Club.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's Memorial Day here. And we're here with, obviously Michael's here as always. And this week we're joined by not just Ed, but also Doug.
Ed, Choi, and Douglas Kim.
Yeah.
Why are we clapping? Wait, what?
Because you are on time this time.
What do you mean?
It wasn't.
No.
He was 20 minutes late.
Okay.
What is Memorial?
I
I,
mean,
know
that's the earliest.
Veterans Day is for the end of World War I, right? Is Memorial Day for any specific?
I think
war?
that's when it was established, but I think Memorial Day is for the fallen troops, whereas Veterans Day is for like any. I think technically for you to be a
troops.
veteran, you have to be alive.
Oh, it's about those who died. Yeah.
I see.
It's kind of weird when people are like, "Happy Memorial Day," because you're like, "Yes,
Yeah,
I
right.
remember.
yeah."
But once you're gone,
People-
it's not. You're not a veteran.
Well, maybe
Yeah, but what's
Vietnamese
just like-
might celebrate it, huh?
Today's for like people who died, so to be like, "Hey, Happy Memorial Day,"
But they're all
feels a little weird.
they're all gone.
yeah. Like
Okay.
it's weird.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, most people just treat it as the beginning of summer.
It is. That's the
Yeah.
reason why I think they're like, "Oh, it's summer," but like to say Happy Memorial Day is like weird.
Yeah, I did hear that before. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
start of
I mean,
summer.
that's the official, well, not the unofficial,
Unofficial.
Yeah.
start of summer, I guess.
Right. Yeah, so, today, let's talk about some serious shit,
Okay.
at least
Okay.
for this first one.
We're going serious.
So what's up with Palestine and Israel? Anybody have any,
It's
updates?
a very
We're
wide
laughing at
swath.
Yeah, that
I
was.
mean, like what's going on currently about like
yeah,
Rafah?
what's going on there, Doug? I'm sure you're keeping up to date, and you, Ed, too, right? Haven't you made some reports there?
Yeah, a little bit. I've been trying to sponsor a family to get out, but the borders are closed. So
to get them out.
yeah,
Right.
So
From
yeah,
Rafah?
it's been nearly 8 months since October 7th now, right? Or a little less.
Yeah, almost 8 months, yeah.
And Israel's campaign was just slowly pushing the population down and down and down into this concentrated area, and now they just J-dam of the whole place. Surgically striking. It's funny. I made a comment. There was this, I guess, Israeli guy who was like, "Oh, we took out 2 Hamas commanders. Like this was
I
the
heard
surgical
that.
strike," and there was like. Yeah, that's like doing surgery with a chainsaw and saying, "Great success, we
Yeah.
got rid of the tumor."
yeah,
And then we read Israeli airstrike killed 45 Palestinians.
yeah. They
In an
just
encampment for
they
displaced
just
people. Yeah.
bombed an encampment where they told people that it was safe to be.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think it's
And Jackson Hinkle says 28 minutes ago that Israel is bombing Rafah right now.
Yep.
Right now.
So here's the image that Jackson Hinkle just...
The 24-year-old
Uploaded.
communist, right?
And then that's something else. But I saw recently they were bombing like tents.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it's kind of, I mean, it seems like most of the country is against this, maybe. But what's with our leaders? Why aren't they doing anything? Like Blinken or Biden? Like, what's up with
Because
that?
Israel has a right to defend itself, Michael.
No, it's because
What?
of money.
Wasn't Blinken kind of busy playing guitar? Right? Did you
Wait,
see
what?
him? Did you see him singing in Ukraine? You didn't see? Oh, he's a good performer. You should check it out.
I did
He
not
was
see
playing
that.
guitar.
Was
and,
it like
while this
Yoon Suk-yeol
amidst
singing
this
American Pie?
war happening between Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine, he was playing guitar and singing, and it seems like it's a good day for him.
Yeah, so at this point, like, a lot of, I guess, leftists are kind of disappointed with Biden or the squad or whatever for not doing anything really and just maybe saying a few words here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't know, I don't think Republicans are going to be any better, like if Trump wins, which he will win. So what solution is there for, like, what can American people do to help, or, what can American people do to try to end this? What do you think? Is there anything, or do we just give up and say, well, Israel's got the power?
I mean, there were a lot of protesting, but didn't the protesting kind of die down a little bit too throughout the past couple of weeks, ever since they've been cracking down on it? So
I don't know if it's been dying down or if the media hasn't been
media's not-
covering
okay,
it as
yeah,
much.
it could be.
Yeah, because I watch a lot of videos of kids who are graduating and, they're still protesting.
It's kind of
at
like
graduation.
Stop Asian Hate.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like a phase, you're saying?
It was widely publicized a little bit, not even widely, like a little, just a minor section was publicizing it a little bit.
Yeah.
In the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, especially after the Atlanta shootings. But then, like, after a year or so, it's actually gotten worse now than it was 2 years ago. It's just that the media
is not covering it.
Yeah, there's no profit to cover this stuff to the media, so they're not going to cover it.
Yeah, so
the media is, it's all, the arm of American imperialist propaganda. So they're not going to publicize anything that, goes against that general mission. I know that, like, Biden, yes, they did, like, take away some weapons since they were going to Rafah or whatever. But what is that? What is that going to do? Israel already has, like, an advanced military themselves. Like, they have F-35s.
Yeah.
It's just like,
they have the nukes too.
yeah.
And even that pier that we built that was supposed to be providing humanitarian aid to Rafah, they've recently gotten photographs of that same pier being used to deliver weapons to Israel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what was?
Oh, really?
Maybe
Oh,
that
wow.
was the intended and purpose of that pier, huh?
It was
And like maybe all
it's
along.
fake. Yeah. It's a bait and switch.
So it seems like Democrats and Republicans can be both very evil, huh?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's human, No one's perfect. But,
Weren't you making fun of me?
it wasn't, it's not even like,
Nobody's
not even
perfect.
like we're supporting
Yeah,
it. We're like funding it. We're like funding the genocide.
Like, as an American, I'm just kind of like, look, if you want to defend yourselves, do it on your own dime. Okay, like, why are you spending my tax dollars?
Many pundits not on the mainstream media, but on YouTube or Rumble have been saying the same as what you're saying. Why? I mean, this is not America. This is Israel. Why are we always
even separate
just
from all of
blindly
my like
supporting
communist whatever stuff? I'm just kind of like, as an American, I'm just kind of like, I give the American government lots of fucking money from taxes. Why is I should have a say in how I want this money to be spent.
Yeah.
Israel provides us no benefit whatsoever. Like, they have free healthcare.
I heard, right? From American taxpayer money, right?
And South Korea, for example, South Korea pays us for the military stuff. We're paying them to, like, finance their Iron Dome, their all this other stuff. And it's just kind of like, when you look at it logically, you're just kind of like, is there at any point going to be a point where we can cut Israel off and they can be self-sustaining?
Yeah, well, that's just like from a regular citizen perspective. From a politician's perspective, Israel is funding all of their political careers.
Well, yeah.
AIPAC is the biggest.
Yep, the biggest
Yeah.
lobbying group in America.
So is there anything we can do, or
I mean, I think
do
best thing we can do, unfortunately, isn't like a substantial big thing. Is protest. You know what I mean? Like, some of these schools have started to divest from Israel. Starbucks is
Divesting?
dying.
Yeah. Except for
look at
man.
No,
look at
no.
this
Are you
Zionist over here?
What's the actual connection from Starbucks to Israel? It's
Howard
just that
Schultz?
they sell there,
Yeah.
or-
No, I don't think that. I think they have investors that are tied
With
to
Israel.
Zionists. Yeah.
Isn't Howard Schultz? He's also Jewish.
Yeah.
And I think
I mean,
most
not that all
of the
Jews
big
are-
corporations do have, I think, ties with AIPAC.
Yeah.
And The Intercept had an article a couple months ago about pro-Palestinian people forming their own kind of pack to counter AIPAC, but I feel like it's a little bit too late to start at this point. But it seems like all of the politicians move by money.
Yeah.
So 70 to 80% of what our Congress members do on their work time is asking for money. 70 to 80%. They're asking for fund money. So, and many of that money probably comes from AIPAC. And
How very democratic of capitalism.
yeah, that's the system we're in. What can we do, man?
It seems quite inefficient for the government or whatever when if these leaders that we elect are spending most of their time just trying to get reelected, what are they actually doing for the people, huh? Nothing, huh?
I mean, it's been like that for
And it seems like
Ad
if the
infinitum.
constituents have an issue with it, then they shouldn't be re-electing these politicians. But it seems like we
don't have a
continuously
choice.
choose.
Well, it's a
these
false dilemma.
politicians.
They put out two choices, and they're both shitty all the time. Not just this election; they're just all shitty, and it's just kind of like the illusion of choice is what placates most people. Because like, oh, we live in a democracy. We actually get to vote. We can, if we don't like a leader, we can speak out against them or whatever. That's the idea of like how free we are. But in actuality, it's just kind of like it's always been kind of like a duopoly, plutocracy type of system where money just kind of like rules what happens.
But isn't this one of the main reason, even though the mainstream media might not be covering as it's supposed to be, but a lot of young voters, they are very disappointed about the Biden administration. So that's why I think his popularity is going down.
Biden has denounced Israel and Gaza more than, Trump has denounced more than Biden has.
Wow.
So it's like crazy, because I literally said a couple weeks ago, I was like, I never thought that I would.
Wait, but Trump has said something like...
No, he has.
We need to, like, give them more weapons.
He has said stuff like that, but he's also said that there needs to be more ceasefire more oftentimes.
Trump didn't
Biden
say,
has.
like, give them more weapons. I think Trump was kind of sounding more neutral in a way.
During the Rafah thing, when Biden didn't give weapons to Israel, Trump criticized that move.
I think Trump criticized Benjamin Netanyahu a lot, and he said that this
I know what he might have said then, but I'm just saying in this specific instance, when Biden withheld weapons to Israel for Rafah, Trump said, I would have why isn't he letting them finish the job?
He goes back and forth. I think he does.
So I think
I think he's just a naysayer.
He's just saying whatever
the opposite
I
is.
guess,
He's like a
audience, whatever the audience wants, he thinks the audience wants to hear. That specific audience. Because like I remember yesterday he was at the Libertarian Convention.
Oh, he got booed there.
He got
booed, but he kind of like played it off, and then he was like, well, if you want to keep getting 3% and 4%, then keep voting.
I mean, his followers will just do what they always do. They'll just like splice in and like video from like a different country. Like they just recently pretended like one of his rallies, and they used like footage from like something in Brazil.
Really?
And people were like, nowhere in America does it look like this. It was like on the coast in like this like tropical area, and we're like, what part of America is this?
But it was interesting. He also did campaign in the Bronx.
He did,
which is heavily blue.
Yeah.
And he got a large audience, so it's just kind of like.
Yeah, but were they from the Bronx?
Like 25,000, right? People.
I don't know. Yeah,
Isn't that AOC's hood?
That's AOC.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they were from the Bronx. I think his followers just.
It's possible, but I think it's just.
Well, some of them were, I think, from
I'm sure there are.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, Donald Trump did go to, what was it, like a Waffle
think he's
House or
actually
something?
from
And he had a bunch
South
of black
Bronx.
people support. It was a Waffle House, wasn't it? Do you remember seeing that?
I actually think we might see a large shift. I think there was some poll that said like Trump now has the most support from African Americans from a Republican candidate since 1960 or something like that.
Since John F.
Well,
Kennedy?
not since history, since the first Republican.
Because of course
it
used to be completely black votes back in the day, but ever since
it shifted during the FDR
civil rights movement,
sort of.
ever since the civil rights movement, I think he is probably the most popular Republican presidential candidate among African Americans.
Yes,
and no, I think Trump mentioned regarding the Israel-Hamas situation that it wouldn't have happened in the first place if he was president. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Well, no one knows the
guy
Bible.
that rubs shoulders.
I think the mainstream
like,
media
how would he know that though?
I don't know. He's just saying
With Putin?
And I think the media is propping, Nikki Haley. She's a war hawk. They want
she's washed
Trump,
up though.
They want Trump to pick her though as VP.
Well, didn't
Now
Trump also say there would
Trump
be
is not gonna
something
pick
for
her.
Haley? I saw that a few days
He-
ago.
he only says that to, like-
Nikki Haley came out and said, she was holding back for a while, but now last week she said she will vote for Trump, but he should still kind of beg
Trump
for
is-
her votes or
is
something like that.
never gonna pick her for VP.
That's what I think too. But it seems like the media is propping her up.
They're trying to make it like that.
They
but-
really want him to
but
pick
Trump,
her because she's an established
Trump is
figure.
super vindictive. He will never never choose her as VP.
I think he would.
What's that thing he said about Marco
I think he's more
Rubio?
desperate than vindictive, though.
Marco Rubio?
Yeah, but there's no there's nothing really
Marco?
to be gained
Little Marco.
to put.
I mean, I agree with you.
I think Vivek is much more of a choice.
Vivek Ramaswamy?
or more of an attractive choice to Trump because he's been kind of like
I kind of
placating
like
the
him
entire
better,
time.
Vivek Ramaswamy or Tulsi Gabbard. But I think Trump, according to some reports, that he told Vivek that he's not going to choose him as VP. And also last weekend, the news was he's not going to choose even Tulsi Gabbard for. So probably he might choose an establishment figure. I don't know. People will be disappointed.
If he
though.
chooses an establishment figure, does that mean Donald Trump is establishment finally?
I think if he chooses Nikki Haley, I think he's going to lose a lot of votes. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
but the question is Donald Trump part
Well,
of the
I
establishment?
think he's just trying to win. Like you said, I think he
Okay,
doesn't.
so
care.
then
He's
does
just
that
trying to
mean
win.
he's establishment?
Semi, I think you can't be like completely establishment. If the media is so against you, how can you be establishment?
Right.
How can you be so establishment if the media is so
if
against you?
if he picks a bunch of establishment people, he's trying to join the club, right?
I think that's what he did during the first cycle. So there's nothing new. Even the 2016 cycle. He
I think
did get those
ultimately it'll
establishment
depend on
endorsements.
his confidence in being able to win. If he thinks he's going to win regardless, he'll choose whoever he wants, right? Because he doesn't have to bow down to anyone. And so that'll factor into his decision. But if he thinks it's kind of like close, then he's probably going to try to make a more establishment, I guess, suppose.
So the logic is in 2020 there were enough anti-Trumpers rather than pro-Biden people that came out and vote to bring Biden to the White House. So this time around, do you think there are as much as anti-Trump votes as it was in 2020? I think it depends on that. And probably Trump, if he thinks there's still a lot of anti-Trump votes, probably he has to choose somebody more moderate.
Most people, are pretty reactionary to especially to their material conditions, and these past 4 years have definitely been worse than the Trump presidency for most people. And I think people are just going to remember that. They're not going to remember any sort of things about like the pandemic or whatever, or that being a factor. They're just going to remember like these, my grocery bill is 40-50% higher than it was 4 or 5 years ago. That never happened under Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
like for example, you had like for this election, who would you rather support, Biden or Trump?
Honestly, I don't know.
You might not vote.
I also don't believe in that. But
Do you vote in general?
yeah,
Okay.
Who'd you vote in 2020?
Biden.
Yeah.
Biden. Okay.
Howie Hawkins.
Why do you laugh, Michael?
No, I thought he would like explain why or something, but okay.
No, I mean, it was mostly that. It was just anti-Trump, I don't love Biden. I don't love Kamala Harris. But I hate Trump.
And you said you used to be a Republican or libertarian back in the day.
No, growing up I was Republican for sure.
Okay, what shifted you to the party that you are in? Probably you're politically homeless now. Would you
Yeah.
consider yourself politically
You're not a
homeless?
Democrat.
You're not
Or a
registered.
Democrat?
Wow. Okay.
I think technically I am registered a Democrat.
Okay.
I tried to unregister as a Democrat,
As an
but they still
independent?
send me Democrat
yeah.
Oh,
solicitations.
God, those texts.
Oh my God, they're the worst.
So bad.
Sometimes I'm like, if I press stop, I think they're going to be like, yep, this is a valid phone number.
Yeah, you're not sure if
Yeah.
you should stop or not.
No.
Not say anything at all.
It's terrifying, but yeah.
So you don't know who you're going to vote for this year? I mean, are you leaning like 51-49?
Yeah,
like
something like that.
I feel like you're
I think
giving
I'm like
a slight.
100% just don't know.
How about third party?
Well,
then?
you've always lived in California, right?
No, I grew up in Philadelphia for a while.
Oh, okay.
I was born here, but
You
yeah, we
guys were
moved to
kinda
Philly.
close
But I
by.
guess Pennsylvania was much more contentious than like New York or
Yeah.
California.
Swing state.
Yeah, but
Swing
most-
state. But Philadelphia is very blue though. No?
Yeah. I grew up in a very blue liberal
I can-
area.
uh-huh.
And I think being a contrarian, I was always just like, no, I'm Republican.
okay.
But sometimes
until I grew up.
Pennsylvania does swing red sometimes,
Yeah, but
right?
Philadelphia is a place where it's completely.
Oh, yeah,
blue.
I mean,
Philadelphia
I
is
think
the
there
rest
was-
of the state we call Pennsylvania
I think
because
one-
you might as well be in
Yeah.
Kentucky.
There was one
Oh, wow.
town.
Yeah.
including Hershey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hershey too?
Specifically Hershey.
Okay.
My cousin's there. Yeah.
Because there was one town that when Mitt Romney versus Obama happened, Mitt Romney didn't get a single vote in one town in Philadelphia. Yeah, so it's very blue there.
Okay, so Ed, but you are going to vote. You just don't know. It's going to be either Biden or Trump, right? And you just don't know yet, right?
Yeah.
How about Robert Kennedy Jr.?
No.
No.
Oh my God, no.
How about you, Doug? Are you going to go? Are you going to vote? And if not, or if you
I
are
think
going
if I have nothing better to do that day, I'll probably vote for Trump. But
You give him political points because he met with Kim Jong Un. Do you or you think that's
I don't
also
really like
just
support him
show?
as a candidate. I'm just like, California's going to go blue. So
Yeah, without a doubt.
man, talking about
How about you, Michael? Who would you vote for this year?
Yeah, I try not to talk about those.
I don't think you can ask and not answer.
I mean, he's obviously going to vote for Trump.
Yeah,
What are you
Trump,
talking about?
without a doubt, Trump.
I know. Why is he trying to act like?
Yeah, I don't talk about.
I don't know. It could be a
No,
toss-up.
I'll tell you later. But yeah, Trump is
It's a
definitely. I think Trump.
wanspiracy.
I think Trump.
One conspiracy.
But you explained it very well. I think people's groceries. I think we're being hurt when we
Yeah.
go to the groceries and we buy
And I
things,
think
it's
what's
very
frustrating
difficult
people more
because of the
is when
inflation.
Democrats are like, no, the metrics all say we're doing well, actually. Did you see the numbers?
Yeah, that fucking David Pacman fucker.
Yeah.
He was on
Will Stancil?
Or I don't know who else.
Oh.
But I don't know. I saw something on Reddit. David Pacman show. Like, hey, we're doing great. I'm like, what the
Really?
fuck? What
Yeah, that's
world
crazy.
are you fucking
Really,
living in?
somebody said that.
I
David
swear,
Pac-
these fucking I would support Trump, not because I support Trump, but just to piss off these fucking liberals who fucking turn a fucking blind eye to all the real problems and act like everything's fine, and then say Trump is bad. Like, fuck them, Fuck liberals.
I mean, I think they both do it on both sides. They take extremists.
Yeah, but
and lie.
fucking conservatives, they are fucking. They're open and honest about how shitty they are.
Yeah.
Fair.
Democrats try to act like they're your fucking friend. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck
that's
that
fair.
shit.
Yeah, like people like Keith Olbermann and Joe Scarborough, they said things are much better. I mean, it's economically
I
better.
mean,
They were
like-
saying they were economically better. And how can you say that with a straight face?
So it looks like the
'Cause they have
consensus here is
tens
Trump.
of millions of dollars. So they're like, oh, yeah, things are better for me.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think I want to give points like Trump at least meeting with these supposedly bad people, dictators. Like Putin, Kim Jong Un, and Xi Jinping. So he gives a lot of
So
props.
do
to
you
these
give
people.
Obama credit for meeting with Raul Castro?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's
On
good.
that point.
All right.
On that point, yeah.
All right, no.
But I think Obama's very corrupt, though. I think very,
But he
doing-
gets credit for meeting with Castro.
yeah,
That's cool.
that-
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's move on to the next thing. It's been 22 minutes now.
Okay.
Let's talk about China. So
China.
Taiwan, is
Taiwan.
it a part of China or not?
Yes.
Isn't this a debate even within Taiwan too? Is it like 65-35? 65%
I think
are
like
for?
40% want independence, maybe something like that. 60%.
It's
the minority.
much
Yeah.
less than that want actual independence like right now. I think a large, overwhelming majority wants the status quo.
Status quo.
Like just
So is that
just
like
keep things the way they've been. No, two one country, two systems. We're fine. Let's just chill.
Yeah. And Taiwan is very liberal. Aren't gay marriage is legal there? Right?
Yeah, it's like one of the only Asian countries actually.
Right?
I think it was the first.
Was it the first?
think it was
I
the
almost
first
feel
Asian
like
country.
those things though are just like done on purpose to
rub it in their face. To
not
China.
no, not to rub it in their face, to
It's
ingratiate
weaponizing-
themselves to Western liberals.
Okay.
To be like, hey, look
To
how
align
progressive we are.
themselves. Okay,
Look how
yeah.
anti-progressive China is
about it.
because they're so anti-gay or whatever. Look how like pro-gay. Look how every single liberal position they're trying to like strengthen their I guess their propaganda towards, so they can position themselves like, oh, we're just trying to get our freedom and democracy. See this oppressive China, they don't allow gay marriage, so
Yeah,
clearly
I think
America
so.
needs to defend us.
So
There was an
let's
angle.
do a quick. This is my understanding of the Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah,
if they
to
get
me.
sucked in, does it become a
calling Taiwanese
Taiwan?
people Chaiwani.
This is my understanding of the China-Taiwan thing. So my understanding
Are you gonna
is
use it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was funny.
during World War II or whatever, the communists and the nationalists, communists led by Mao and nationalists led by Chiang Kai-shek, they fought together. And then after World War II, there was a civil war. They fought each other. The communists won.
Well, they
the-
even fought before.
Oh,
Before they
before.
fought together, they had a civil war, and then they resumed their civil war after
Okay.
the. Yeah.
And then the communists basically won in the mainland, and then the Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan, right?
Yes.
And then China's official name under the communist government is the People's Republic of China, and in Taiwan, their official name is the Republic of China,
Yeah.
right? So it's, I guess, in a way, as an analogy, if during the U.S. Civil War, the Confederates, let's say they fled to like, I don't know, Puerto Rico or something,
Yeah.
and then said, hey, now we're independent.
We're America.
Like, Is that am I right about that, or am I missing something here, or?
Yeah, I mean that's basically it until the early '70s when the UN basically. So during World War II, I guess the United Nations was created even before it ended, and they were talking about the four horsemen, I guess, or the four policemen rather, which was America, Russia, England, and China. Right, so those were going to be like the four people in the Security Council. I guess they added France at the end, right?
The top dogs,
but
right?
I don't think they should have added France because they they were the Nazis' bitches. But we'll skip over that part. So in that confederation or configuration, China was the main, I guess, military. So the CPC and KMT, they had separate kind of military units, but the KMT was more conventional military. They had more of the kind of like the equipment from the United States and the other allies. So they were seen as the people that were actually responsible for defeating the Japanese, and so they deserved that seat at the council because they were the force that did that. So for the longest time, the United Nations recognized Taiwan or the Republic of China, which was basically, I mean, like Chiang Kai-shek basically considered it like a government in exile in Taiwan.
Okay.
He always thought that like they were going to amass another force and then retake the entire continent at some point or whatever. I mean, delusional, but that's what his thinking was. And so
one day that Taiwan can take over. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
what
for the longest
Changesup's thinking.
for the longest time, the United Nations only recognized Taiwan or Republic of China government as the China in the Security Council, and that's actually why the Soviet Union boycotted the United Nations in the beginning.
So the Soviet Union was not a member of the United Nations back then, or what?
It was, but it was boycotting it at the time in in the 1950s, I guess, or late 1940s, because it wanted People's Republic of China after 1949 because they won the war to be the people on the Security Council.
Right, but the Western countries only recognize the Taiwan people.
Right.
And then what happened in the 70s? Why did they change and recognize the People's Republic of China
Yeah, now
instead?
Taiwan is just an observer, right?
It's somewhat complicated, but there was a lot of political maneuvering going on in the 1960s and 1970s, even between Soviet Union and China. There's what's known as the Sino-Soviet split, which happened pretty much started in 1958 when Nikita Khrushchev. Never mind. The point is that there was a rift between the Soviet Union and China.
Okay. Yeah.
And so
in the 70s.
So in the 70s, Nixon and Kissinger of the United
So
States
Nixon,
met
right?
with
Well,
them.
that was a key, right? Nixon changed the dynamic, right?
Well,
Has Nixon ever been a member of the CCP?
Who?
I'm just kidding.
No.
It's a Tom Cotton
No,
thing.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so Nixon
right?
was the first American president to visit the People's Republic of China. And so it kind of gave it legitimacy, and then they made it to a revote. I think the United States actually voted against People's Republic of China in that vote.
Okay.
But I think it wasn't a Security Council vote, so they changed it or whatever.
Okay, so-
I'm not exactly sure.
And then the United States government established this one China policy where they say, hey, we know there's a Republic of China or Taiwan and then People's Republic of China,
Yeah.
China, but we're officially only going to recognize the PRC, the Communist China, as the real
Yes.
China.
So it is actual U.S. State Department policy.
Right. So it doesn't make sense when Pelosi's going over there and all our politicians are saying all this shit about Taiwan and all
Yeah.
this. Like, what is going on there? Why, if they're going to change, why doesn't the U.S. government change its official policy then?
And what year did it change to that? When they switched around like that?
The U.S. State Department or
Taiwan is
UN?
UN because Taiwan is now officially
I think
an
it was
observer.
1971.
They are observer country,
Yeah,
right?
there
Observer
are
nation.
still, I believe, 12 countries that recognize Taiwan as a country.
Okay.
But even the KMT, I mean, there's a DPP and the KMT right now.
That's Kuomintang,
But the
right?
KMT is the original, obviously party of Taiwan. They still, call themselves Republic of China. So they still consider themselves the government of China. Whereas the DPP, which is the party that has the president in power for the past, 5, 6, 7, 10 years or so. They are trying to, I guess, fight for Taiwanese separatism, which is just kind of like their own country apart from China. So there's even like factions within Taiwan that are kind of like, I guess, fighting for, I guess, supremacy in the government and what they actually want. So it's not like a unified front. Like not everyone in Taiwan wants to leave China.
Yeah.
Because like Taiwanese people, they're not like Ukrainians. They're kind of, I might be racist or nationalist to say this, but they're not idiots. They know that if they push the line against China, they don't want what's happening to Ukraine to happen to them. They don't want to be the punching bag for American military interests.
Right.
It is funny that America does recognize the People's Republic of China because we're so anti-communist, though.
Well,
yeah.
The idea, I guess, was, so this was during the 1970s, and then Deng Xiaoping took over in the late 1970s. During that time, it was a time period of Soviet stagnation, and there was kind of like a little bit of a resentment going on in the Soviet people about like, oh, we don't have all these nice consumer products or blah, 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 whatever. And so the government of the Soviet Union started to kind of like a little bit open up. And then like it collapsed because like it couldn't really like handle that kind of discontent. So I think in the minds of the Americans, they were like, hey, if we liberalize China, if we introduce them to American products, if we introduce them to McDonald's, if we introduce to, Coke, Coca-Cola, or whatever, all these American like products, right? They're going to want to revolt on their own and demand a liberal style.
Right.
Like they're going to demand the fall of China. So that's what they were thinking. And Deng Xiaoping, he knew that was a possibility, or like the liberalization was somewhat of a risk, but he was like, we need to take this risk.
Seriously.
And we can control it and like curtail it once we have the ability to lift everyone out of poverty. Then we curtail some of these things. Then we nationalize some of these industries. But we need to get to a spot where we can, because like at the time, most of Chinese population were under the poverty line. So he's like, we need to feed our people first. And so that's what the direction he took China in. And now Xi Jinping, now that I think he was in office 2013?
No, like that was 2013.
Yes, Xi Jinping.
That was Xi Jinping, and before was what's his name?
Hu Jintao.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So since 2013, Xi Jinping was in office, and since then he's been kind of like on an anti-corruption campaign, like curtailing all these kind of liberalist changes. And so, in response to that, and in addition with, American, economy going down the shitter, the propaganda wheel has been turning in the past 5 to 10 years. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at your wrap there. It looks pretty good.
All right. What did you order there?
Yeah, what is that? You only took one bite.
Yeah, it's a ham and Swiss croissant.
Ham and Swiss.
Swiss.
Yeah. So it's not that they liked communism. It's more that they
Talking about communism while eating.
they miscalculated
Right.
about like what the effects of the liberalization could.
Right.
Because now
Okay.
the attitude in China is like fuck
Right.
America. There's more of a fuck America going on in China right now.
Right. So, okay. So Taiwan, like as Asian Americans, like we see, like at least over here, it seems at least 3 of us are supporting Palestine.
Wait, are you not supporting Palestine?
Of course, I do.
So aren't there not 4 of us?
Go ahead.
Well,
Why are you getting so fidgety,
Oh,
Michael?
you don't support Palestine.
No, I mean, I think it's very complicated. Yeah, that's where I'm staying at. But I think regarding this war,
Wait,
I
after
always
everything you
say-
said about the deep state, you're gonna say this is
yeah, so
complicated?
I talked about that angle too. So yeah, but Israel being built in 1948, I think deep state being involved. Yeah, I think so. But ever since October 7th, I think the war should be stopped. That's where I stand at. Yeah.
That's very confusing answer. That is a very confusing.
No, because I even the Palestinians.
So do you think What do you think about the recent like Spain and all these other countries recognizing Palestine?
I think regarding this war, I think it should be stopped. But October 7th did
No,
happen.
no, no. What do you think about
hold on.
I'm asking you that specific question.
Hold
what do you think of all these countries now recognizing Palestine
and denouncing Israel?
I know that.
But what do you think about it? What do you think?
I think
about
it's okay. I'm cool with it. I already did a series about it.
Okay, so you are somewhat
Culture
pro-Palestine
Shock.
then.
Yeah, I mean, but I think this war is not as simple as it seems. Like the pro-Palestinian people are saying October 7th happened because of the settlements issue too, and there's a religious angle here too. If you talk about Hamas specifically said their spokesperson said that they don't like Israel preparing. They're waiting for their own Messiah, right? You know that Israel. I'm talking about the right wingers.
Yes, I am very familiar with Christian ideology.
And the red heifer, right? Do you know the red heifer angle about
That's
it?
red heifer.
Oh, so the Hamas spokesperson talked about. You don't know about it?
No.
So mainstream media doesn't cover it as much, but CBS, NBC, New York Times did cover it, and CNN too. That Israel preparing the third temple. Historically they had the first temple, second temple in Jerusalem, and the third temple they're preparing for it in Israel, and they brought in like 5 red heifers that is unblemished, no white hair and no black hair.
We're talking about women, right? Like
no. I'm talking about like cow.
Cow.
Red cows.
Okay.
Yeah, so they brought.
Okay, I was like,
so
wait.
I mean, why don't you type it in? It's there, red heifer. So that's what I think. That is one of the main reasons why they did declare they attacked.
Okay.
October 7th.
Right. So anyway.
Yeah, but you're right.
It's okay.
I can definitely say I'm not like pro-Palestine or I'm different from all three of you.
I'm saying So, but getting back to the Taiwan thing, I'm saying most of us here we're like, okay, we support Palestine. We're against Israel's genocide and all that.
Yes.
But as Asian Americans or Korean Americans, when it comes to China and Taiwan, what's the stance we should take? Like, do you have an opinion on this?
Well, Taiwan. Doesn't Taiwan have a lot of like economic relation with America? America rely upon a lot of
TSMC, right?
TSMC, and I think Paul Pelosi actually went there when Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan, and I think there's that angle too. I think it's very complicated. I think America is heavily invested there. It's a business thing, I think.
First of all, TSMC, the founder, he's actually mainland Chinese.
No, okay.
And then he actually was working for Texas Instruments for a while. And he concluded that like he wanted to do something with Texas Instruments, but they were too racist. So he wanted to start his own company, and then he had to go to Taiwan to do that.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually due to American racism that TSMC is not in America.
Well, I guess.
Okay, but I mean, so do you support the one China policy or?
The one.
I mean, that is America's. That is supposedly United States policy, right? One China policy. I think theoretically, and I know a lot of people have issues with it. I heard that in the 80s, everything was made in Taiwan. It used to be not made in China. It used to be
it was Taiwan back then.
So I think there's a lot of emotional ties there about Taiwan. Is it going to be sucked in? Is it going to be sucked into mainland China? Like, I think it's a little bit different from Hong Kong, right? When Hong Kong went for China. I think Taiwan situation. I don't know. Didn't Biden say they're not gonna let this happen? So I think both parties are not gonna let this happen.
It's funny because Biden says one thing and then the White House says, "Oh no, he didn't mean that." The next day,
Biden doesn't even know where he is.
Biden doesn't even know.
Not that Trump's that far off either.
I don't know.
Man, Trump can talk 2 hours in a row. Though.
I've seen those.
Biden's crazy though. I mean,
it's just like getting worse.
He is getting worse by the
like.
day.
Yeah, but Trump's also showing signs of mental deterioration as well. Not as bad as Biden, for sure.
He's shown that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
he's been delusional for his whole life.
There's a lot
It's funny because I was looking up Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is actually younger than Joe Biden.
Bill Clinton is
decrepit Bill Clinton, who looks like he's gonna die.
Bill Clinton is the same age as Trump.
Yeah.
They're both at 77.
I think Bush is older, right?
George W.
Yeah.
George
Then Clinton?
W. Bush could be around the same age, I think. Yeah.
W is 77.
Oh,
so they're all the same age.
They're all the same age.
Trump, they were all born in July and June. So Trump and Bush are about a month apart, and then was it Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton is also 46. Wow, they're like all within
together,
June, July, August.
That's crazy.
They're all born within a couple months of each other.
I know.
It's like when I was doing the videos, the the nth room and the Paksa room, they were born
yeah.
5 days apart.
5 days
I remember
apart.
5 days.
That's funny.
Right. So anyway, it's kind of hard to know what to support because I met this at a company I used to work with. You know, her last name was Lu. So I'm like, oh, you're Chinese? She's like, I'm not Chinese.
I'm Taiwanese.
I'm from Taiwan. And
So you're Chinese.
well, that's the thing I didn't get. But it's like I don't. So even today at the gym, I met this guy, and then I exchanged information because he's like some kind of Hollywood writer or something. So I thought he was Korean, and then he wrote down his email address, and it was like a Chinese name. I go, I didn't know what I was like. Oh, are you Chinese or Taiwanese? And he's like, I'm Chinese. But that's the thing is like, we don't want to offend Taiwanese people here.
I call
like,
them chanks. The
Chanks?
Chanks.
What
Taiwan. No, okay.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
what did you say the percentage was being pro-China within Taiwan? The most recent
Majority,
poll?
right?
Pro-China?
Yeah.
In Taiwan?
Yeah.
I mean, like they want to reunify?
Yeah. The
That's
percentage.
pretty
wow.
small.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
small.
probably I think the ones that want immediate separatism and unification are probably around comparable. Maybe the separatism is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there isn't a huge amount of people that are
That
like we
wants
need to
it.
reunify.
Yeah, but like of the people who are just like too scared to stir the pot, without the fear, which way would they lean? Probably towards separation, right?
That's what I would think.
I would assume
think.
so.
Yeah,
I mean,
would assume so too.
I've talked to people that are on the ground, and it's kind of mixed these days. I think like people are kind of seeing the events of the past 5 years, and they're like kind of confused as to what is happening and what's going on.
Yeah.
And what,
So like us here now.
yeah.
All right. Well, so that's it for Taiwan and China. So let's
Okay.
move on to our final topic for this episode, and let's we talked about this before. I think on Culture Shock maybe, which is our other program,
Yeah.
but.
Korean language program.
BYD, which is an electric car company.
Yeah, number one electric company in the world, right?
Yeah, or
Sales wise.
Yeah, although that also included their hybrids. But anyway, they're definitely on their way to becoming the number one around the world. So I saw this tweet, and it said, let's see, BYD slashed the price of its Dolphin EV by 15% to about 100,000 yuan, which is about $14,000. That's half the price of the mythical small Tesla that is 2-3 years away from production, while Musk wastes every waking hour on toxic identity politics. BYD's Focus CEO keeps crushing Tesla. So, this is the Chinese EV. Like, it doesn't look bad, actually.
I would buy that for 13 grand.
BYD.
100%.
I mean, for 13 grand, it's not bad, but it gives me like 2010 like Prius vibes, and like I just
okay.
have like an association with Prius drivers in LA,
Yeah.
I guess.
So I know a traffic lawyer, and he told me that if you're gonna go electric, buy Tesla, because if you buy like Hyundai or other electric automobiles,
The charging network?
they have a lot of issues coming out, and the issues
Well, those
that
are-
Tesla went through, they're now going through.
Yeah,
it,
but BYD is not Hyundai and all
BYD.
these
So
other
I don't
stuff.
know. I think BYD. I didn't hear anything about
Because
it.
BYD has been at this as long as Tesla.
How long? Okay.
So they're not this new company, but it's funny because back in 2013 or something, I think Elon Musk was like making fun of BYD.
That's
Yeah,
true. You're
saying,
right.
like,
We played that
Yep,
video,
yep.
right?
And then he corrected himself.
Yeah.
He said, BYD is a serious company. I mean, they're really top notch. I think he had to say it, right?
oh, now
They also have, like, a
or at the
huge
next-
No,
SUV,
he said
right?
it recently, a couple months
The
ago.
Cybertruck?
Yeah, no, BYD.
Oh, BYD.
BYD.
And it's
Oh, yeah. I think Joe Rogan was talking.
It's
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
because
Because
like
somebody tweeted to him, "Hey, you said this 10
Yeah,
years
yeah.
later. You look down on
Yeah.
BYD. What do you
but
what do you
the
got to say
other
now?"
funny
And then he
thing
corrected
is that
himself.
he's always like, Tesla is open source. Everything is like open. If competitors want to copy our stuff, they're always welcome to.
Really? Did he say that? Okay.
He always says stuff like that. But on this like 100% tariffs on BYD now, he's not saying anything.
Yeah,
if
because
he were true to his word, he would no, these tariffs are anti-competitive. They should be allowed, whatever. But no, he's a hypocrite.
Yeah,
at
no,
this.
because he's like panicking about money. He
Yeah,
even sent out that
exactly.
email to all
25%?
Yeah, shareholders being like, "Hey, I need to be the richest man again." You're like, "What, dude?"
Well, he
did
just
he
wants
say that in that
he-
email that he needs to be
Pretty
the
much.
Basically,
that's
his
crazy.
rationale was that if they want him to pursue AI projects at Tesla, he wants to have 25% of the company or 25% voting share, whatever, to be able to control that AI, because he's now his worry is that like any sort of AI that's not under his control can be used for nefarious purposes like OpenAI and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I know.
That's going on.
I think that's one of the reasons why Elon Musk started OpenAI. He and was it Sam Altman? I think they.
I don't think
did it
he
together.
started. I think he helped finance.
Yeah,
it.
he helped it. I mean, he was there in the initial stage because he worried that Google CEO founder Seth Ray, what's his name? Seth Brin or whatever his name is.
Sergey?
Yeah, Sergey Brin.
Sergey
Yeah,
Brin.
yeah. So because Sergey Brin was saying that AI should take its course and take over humanity. And then Elon Musk didn't like what he was saying.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
if you read his
I
book.
I mean, like
think
every
anyone-
movie
I don't
made
think
about
anyone's
AI,
like
that's
something
like
to
the
say.
one thing. They're like, be careful. We don't want them to take over.
It's so ironic. Their slogan was "quote unquote Don't be evil."
Yeah, I know, but they threw it away. Why did they throw it away, man?
they're
They wanted
evil.
to be evil. Yeah, so Elon Musk probably started in a good cause, but I think, do you believe Elon Musk to be fighting for a good cause
No.
for humanity?
No.
Oh, please. That fucking
Elon
guy.
just wants to fulfill his space dreams. That's his primary directive.
Yeah, and I can see if you put zero tariff on this will flood the market, American market, because
Yeah.
price wise, right, it's much more competitive.
It is. But I think Elon wants to take over space because that's the only way he can take over the world without becoming a dictator. Like,
Not only that, I think it's just kind of like in his mind, like in the history books, like thousands of years from now, it'll be like, oh, Elon Musk was
Yeah.
the one who led us
yeah,
to
he thinks there's going to be like
interplanetary space
statues about
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
They go to Mars.
no. Fuck that guy.
He'll be forgotten. Okay. So, what do you think is Chinese EVs? You know, you saw that it was only 14,000. Even with 100% tariff, it'd be what? It's still under 30
It's still
grand.
under 30 grand.
Yeah.
And it might be a superior product. I don't know how much the Model 3 is. That the
Model
cheapest
3
one?
starts at 35, I think, and then like
Didn't they lower it? I thought it was like.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but,
why is
like,
why is he lowering it?
with all the extras that you kind of have to get?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It
With
comes out
that,
to like
for sure.
45,
Yeah,
50.
yeah, yeah. But theoretically, you could get a base
Yeah.
model for I think like 27.
Oh, I don't know.
Interest rate was what for this one? Didn't they kind of lower it or something?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Model
So
3.
what does it say?
Let's see,
Cash.
cash price. So it starts
Oh,
at
it's like
33.
34.
So even that BYD,
If you put 100% tax,
yeah,
tariff,
it's still going to be
cheaper.
cheaper. And
I would still
people
get the
who
Model
don't
3
like,
though if it's 28K for the BYD
Okay.
one.
yeah, but I mean, but anyway, what are we going to see in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? I mean, we saw how Hyundai was looked at like 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
What, you know,
Then it
what's-
recruited all those German engineers from Mercedes.
Hyundai.
is that
they
what
did.
Hyundai
They
did?
did.
Okay.
They
Like
even
10, 15
the
years
designers,
ago.
right? Even the designers.
I think
they hired
mainly
a lot
the
of-
designers and engineers, and then I think LG stole from Audi.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
when they both, or not LG, Kia stole from Audi. That's when they both started shifting.
How is Hyundai's image now?
I think it's a lot
It's
better,
spread-
especially with
it's-
Genesis.
yeah. I mean-
you know, I had a Genesis.
Their
and
cars are the most stolen.
Hyundai is the most
cars.
stolen car.
More than Hondas now?
I think the Hyundais are surpassing.
That's crazy.
Well, I had a Genesis GV70 SUV, and it kind of looks like a Bentley, sort of. And I took it to the Grove once, and the Valley guy there, I just dropped it off like I didn't really think much, and then he runs after me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing, man? You trying to fool people into thinking of a Bentley?" I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, no, I said it's a Genesis. And then, anyway, later I found out that the designer of the car is the same one who designs Bentley.
Wow. Okay, so
And then the designer's Korean. So
the designer's Korean. Okay.
anyway, yeah, but I feel like, you know, we see how popular Hyundai and Kia is now with the Telluride and whatever. So is it possible that in the next 10, 20 years, Chinese cars will just take over like America and, you know, like, and Tesla will just be like a fraction of what it is now?
Not if
Do you think America would do something?
Say about it.
The deep state would protect America's own, or
I mean,
would-
they're already trying to, right?
Actually, I think
100%
Elon Musk
tariffs?
is not American. He's-
100%
isn't he
tariffs
South-
are kind of
He's South
crazy.
African.
He's South African, right?
I've never heard of 100% tariffs in America before. Like I've heard them in Korea. Like any foreign car.
Yeah, they used to
100%
tariff the heck
tariffs?
out of yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's why
then-
if you like even drove a Ford, you're like, whoa, you must be a millionaire. You're like, bro, that's a
Yeah,
Ford.
because I remember back in the 80s, it was very difficult to see any American cars.
Yeah.
we
In
did.
Korea,
Yeah, in
yeah.
Korea, we did
I
see
should
Benz
I should get a Hummer
every once
in
in a while.
Seoul just to drive around.
No, I
Those
remember
new
in
EV ones are crazy.
Korea back in 94, 95 when I was there. I was just somewhere standing outside, and there's this shitty Honda truck passing by, and some kid was just going crazy, like Honda, Honda.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, wow, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a Japanese car either when I was in Korea.
Oh,
Wait,
I
so
got to see all
do they
those
still
cars
have
here
those
in the
tariffs
States.
now in
No.
Korea?
No, I think they lowered it. I think Korea was super protective for Samsung and Hyundai Korean zone, but ever since the IMF situation, International Monetary Fund crisis happened, they had to lax a whole bunch of laws.
Yeah. Everyone was drowning.
And globalists wanted to.
The globalists.
I think George Soros was behind that too, in my opinion.
Well, Infowars.com.
And I think
Buy my supplements.
a lot of Korean companies.
Globalists? You mean capitalists?
Capitalists?
Crony capitalism, right?
Yeah, because that's when you got to start seeing a lot of American products. We didn't see a lot back in the 80s, like you only had one McDonald's at Apgujeong back in the day in the 80s. And I never seen an American car. Every once in a while, I
And
would see
Fridays.
That was before all the
Yeah,
KFCs flooded
even
in.
TGIF, there was
Bennigan's.
only one in Gangnam, and I didn't, but you didn't see these branch out. But I think after the IMF, they had to compromise. They had to give a lot of their shares, and then things really changed a lot. So America became very American.
My friend was
Korea became very Americanized.
Yeah, my friend was a K-pop star in Korea in the early 90s. He was a rapper, very unknown group though, and he had a Honda Prelude, and he was hot shit there with the Honda Prelude.
With a Honda Prelude?
Hey, Preludes are
pretty
dope.
cool. Yeah,
Prelude was cool. Yeah, that is
I'm
cool.
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Even now,
But yeah, and even about 15 years ago, my friend from Jersey, he would come to LA, buy some car like a Mercedes or something, cash, ship it to Korea to Busan, and then he would get a huge profit selling it to some rich dude out there. So even as recently as 15 years ago, I guess the tariffs were so high that anyway, so he made some decent money doing
Making
that.
a lot of money in the import-export stuff.
But I bet it's much more expensive to purchase the same kind of model in Korea compared to America. I think because the general knowledge is it's cheaper here, the automobiles. If you if
well,
you have
I mean,
to buy
I
Not,
think
not
that's
Mercedes, right? I mean, compared
Mercedes-
to like Germany, for example.
Yeah, probably, but Korea is, I think, even higher than the price that you buy it. You purchase it here.
I'm sure it's going to be higher.
uh-huh.
I mean, just like shipping alone, right?
but theoretically, you could buy it in Germany and just drive it to Korea. Not theoretically, because you
Well,
can't
you
go
gotta
through
go through
parts
the
of
north,
it. Yeah,
right?
I know, but theoretically.
Land
But even that little bit of ship space is like significantly cheaper and smaller than
Oh, like Qingdao to
The Pacific.
Incheon or something. Yeah.
Man, I didn't even consider that. Like all products that go into South Korea have to come by sea, right?
they have to.
It has to come by sea. It has to come by sea.
I mean, we're a
yeah.
peninsula, but theoretically, we're an island.
Yeah, I mean, in grade school,
Politically, we're an
I
island. Yeah,
remember
politically.
like the teachers would tell us to get out. In the classroom. I think I already told you, Michael. And then they would just go through our stuff, and they would, if it's made in America or made in Japan, they would confiscate it from us. That's how protectionism was active in
Were they being
Korea.
patriotic or selling it on the black market?
I don't know, but
I mean, I'm sure there was
So-
some corruption going
I
on.
remember even like 15 years ago, my aunt who lives in Korea, she was like driving like a 4 or 5 year old Hyundai. And some lady like pulled up next to her at a red light and was like, "Oh, 동차, 새거 사요." And she was
Really?
like, "What? It's a 4-year-old car, lady."
Yeah.
What the fuck?
that's crazy.
Did you say Pyeongsin?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You always go for the strong.
That's all I was taught. I wasn't taught.
Well, they told you-
I wasn't taught the more like lenient.
Yeah.
When you
Habo.
go to Korea and they're like, "Oh, let me teach you Korean." They're not like, "Oh, let me teach you the subtle ways of insulting someone." No, they go straight to the hardcore shit.
You learned it the right way.
Yeah. Doug, you're pretty good at cussing, yeah.
His Korean level is pretty much top
When it
notch.
comes-
You can go as a national.
Yeah, shiva.
You know,
On my LinkedIn profile.
yeah. I had a friend from China.
That's all the Korean I know.
Yeah, top-notch cusser.
Yeah, my Chinese friend, he spoke Korean, and he always learned the cussing first, and he was so good at it. But he always had this weird accent, so he would call people and be like, "이 씨발 새끼야."
Sheerball.
Shibar.
Shibar.
Anyway. Yeah. So, you know how Japan was like in the 80s was like rising
dominant,
astronomically?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somehow they got cucked. Will the U.S. do the
Yeah.
same to China?
What do
They
you call
can't.
that? The Plaza.
They're trying to.
What was
Plaza
that?
Accords.
The Plaza
Yeah.
Accords, right?
They're trying to, but they can't because, like as you saw with Huawei, they tried to cut,
They did.
sales or whatever and supplies.
Yeah.
And then they just developed their own, 7 nanometer chip or whatever to continue going or whatever. And now they're outselling iPhones in China or whatever, or they're starting to sell more and more compared to iPhones in China. And same thing with a lot of other stuff. I think that's actually a big part of the reason why, they are fighting for Taiwan, like the TSMC, like you mentioned. TSMC is at the forefront of kind of like microprocessors, and in this kind of like trade war / Cold War with China, AI technology is seen as the next big thing
Yeah,
that's
I
going
know.
to drive sort of like not only, consumer technology, but military technology as well. And so their rationale is like, we can't let Taiwan, get into the control of China because we need this they're doing these things where they're trying to like move TSMC facilities over to America, but they're finding out that the American workforce is just too stupid to make that work.
Ironically, NVIDIA's
NVIDIA is
founder,
an American company.
He's also Taiwanese
Yeah,
too,
but
right?
it's an American company, so it doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
really
no, I'm
to-
just pointing out that
Yeah.
seems like a lot of Taiwanese they're good at these computer chips.
Well, there was a large amount of before the recognition of China as in the UN, there was very little immigration from the People's Republic of China to America. All the people that came to America from China were pretty much from Taiwan. So they kind of like had a head start in going to kind of like places all around, specifically Silicon Valley. And I do know that there are a decent amount of Taiwanese Americans who made a big fortune, maybe not all NVIDIA level, but like 8-9 figure kind of fortunes they've made through engineering in these places. And so they kind of had this head start in this economic base in terms of developing that stuff.
Yeah, I think when I went to college, a lot of my friends, Taiwanese friends, they would get like at least a doctor degree. They just keep like South Koreans, they would just be happy with getting a bachelor's degree, but they said they have to, bachelor's degree is nothing there.
Yeah.
In Taiwan, they have to get a minimum a master's and a doctor's degree. So I think that's why they developed these semiconductors like no
because
other
I
nations.
think South Korea, especially during our parents' generation, they had no idea what was going on during the information kind of revolution in the 1970s. And I think, just coming over here and that information transfer, having all those Taiwanese people coming here very early in the 1950s, really accelerated their knowledge of like what do we need, need to know, and how do we get wealthy. This is how we do it. We have to get engineering. This is the opportunity that's available to us. So we need a doctorate, we need a PhD, we need all these other things.
Right.
If you go on the FBI's website, they have this page that's called like War on China.
War on China. they
Yeah,
do.
something like that. I forget what the exact title is, but it's something like that. And the main reason is because they claim that a lot of people from China came to steal semiconductor technology from American companies. And they're like now on like an FBI's most wanted list, some of these Chinese people.
That
a
sounds
lot of
crazy.
There's like literally an FBI official
wanted list,
page called like the War on China or
Which
something.
is kind of funny because
And they made like a documentary, and it's like this it's like 40 to an
That must
hour
be where
long
that
video
$500 million
You mean on their
budget.
government website?
on the government FBI website.
They have a documentary too
Yeah.
about
You
it.
hate the FBI, right?
Yeah, FBI is crazy. I mean, when we say hate the FBI, CIA, okay, when we rank and file people, they're okay, but the top
distrust.
people,
Well,
the
yeah.
seventh floor
Yeah,
people
yeah. I mean,
I
on
think
the
that's
FBI.
what
Oh,
most-
like when
the
people
top ranked.
like when people say "fuck the police," something like that, right?
Yeah, the top ranked people. Yeah, I think
Right.
that
Fuck
they're,
Daryl
they're,
Gates.
They're,
Yeah, well, fuck the police is also different than ACAB. Fuck the police is more like, I think,
Yeah.
general.
Right. Anyway, we're gonna end this one before the 1 hour mark today.
Wow,
Right
that's a
before.
record. That's a record.
We got another one coming up. We're gonna be more casual on that one because Doug just got back
I
from
need to take off
Vegas.
my
and-
shirt.
Yeah, Doug's gonna take off his shirt,
Yeah.
do a little belly
Tell us
dance.
your
Casual.
Vegas story.
Right. Hey,
Get
anyway.
into the mood.
Yeah, thanks. And Ed's gonna talk about pinks. Anyway,
Thanks.
we'll be right back next time, guys. See ya.
Okay, bye bye.